All right, if you're looking for a trip that's got a little bit of everything, history, adventure, and just pure wild nature, then you have landed in the right spot. Today, we are heading to North Carolina's Outer Banks.
Welcome to Planet in Your Pods, where we help you get the most out of your travels. So the Outer Banks, or as you'll hear everyone call it, the OBX, it's this amazing 200-mile-long ribbon of barrier islands just arching out into the Atlantic. And what's so special about it? It just feels natural, wild, and free, you know? It's a place you can really, truly unplug.
So, you're planning your first trip, right? And the big question is, okay, where do I even begin? Well, don't you worry, I've got you. We're about to run through the 7 essential things you absolutely have to do on your first visit. We're actually going to take a little road trip, a geographical journey, starting way up in the Northern Islands and heading south, hitting all the must-see spots along the way. Think of this as your perfect first-timer's game plan. You ready? Let's do this.
Our adventure kicks off at the very northern tip of the islands, in a place that's famous for its oldest and, let's be honest, its most enchanting residents. And that brings us to the number one thing to do. See the wild horses of Corolla. Now, these are not just any horses. They are, without a doubt, a living symbol of the Outer Banks' untamed spirit.
This story here is just incredible. They're believed to be descendants of Spanish Mustangs, brought here by explorers way back in the 1500s. I mean, for almost 500 years, they've survived everything this coast can throw at them. Hurricanes, settlers, you name it. Now they're protected, and since they roam in some really remote areas, the absolute best and safest way to see them is to hop on a guided 4-wheel drive tour.
Okay, from ancient, wild history, we're going to head a little south to a spot that literally changed the entire world.
That brings us to the number 2 thing to do. Visit the Wright Brothers National Memorial in Kill Devil Hills. This is it. This is the exact spot where humankind learned how to fly.
It happened right here, December 17th, 1903. 2 brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, self-taught engineers, mind you, did what everyone thought was impossible. But why here, of all places? Well, they were smart. They picked this remote strip of sand for 2 reasons. The winds were strong and steady, and the sand, well, the sand provided a nice, soft cushion for all those experimental landings.
Feeling inspired by all that talk of flight? Well, our next stop gives you the chance to get up in the air yourself.
I mean, come on, who hasn't, right? Well, just a stone's throw from where the Wright brothers made history, you can find out exactly what it feels like.
Which brings us to the number 3 thing to do. Explore Jockey's Ridge State Park. And let me tell you, this is not just some big pile of sand. This is the tallest, most massive natural sand dune system on the entire East Coast. It's basically a giant natural playground.
And the adventure here is really what you make of it. You can hike up the dunes, the views of the ocean on one side and the sound on the other are just unreal. Those same winds that helped the Wright brothers, they make it the perfect spot to fly a kite. But if you're feeling really adventurous, you can take hang gliding lessons right there in the park and soar off the dunes yourself.
All right, let's head across the bridge to an island that is just steeped in some of America's oldest and most puzzling stories.
And that brings us to the number 4 thing to do, where we get to step back in time and uncover the deep, layered history of Roanoke Island. This place is home to some of the country's oldest and most haunting mysteries.
The history here is just so rich. You've got Fort Raleigh, which is the actual site of England's very first attempt at a settlement, the one that became the legendary Lost Colony. Fast forward a few centuries, and during the Civil War, this same island became a safe haven for African Americans escaping slavery, known as the Freedmen's Colony. And right there, you can also walk through the breathtaking Elizabethan Gardens, a living memorial to those first colonists.
Continuing our drive south, we're crossing over the Mark Basnight Bridge onto Hatteras Island. We're now entering a true paradise for nature lovers.
And that brings us to the number 5 thing to do. Pay a visit to the Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge. Seriously, if you're a fan of wildlife, this place is an absolute gem.
So this refuge is a huge deal for birding. It's a critical stop on what's called the Atlantic Flyway. Think of it as a superhighway for migrating birds. Over 365 species stop here throughout the year. It's also a major nesting area for loggerhead sea turtles.
You can just walk the trails and be blown away by how much life there is in this one protected, beautiful spot.
As we keep heading down Hatteras Island, we start seeing some of the Outer Banks' most famous landmarks. These incredible structures built to guide ships through these really dangerous waters.
And that brings us to the number 6 thing to do. Stop and admire the gorgeous Bodie Island Lighthouse. You can't miss it. With its bold black and white horizontal stripes, it's a classic. But it's way more than just a pretty picture. Its light has been guiding sailors since 1872. And if you're up for it, you can climb all 214 steps for an absolutely killer view.
And now, for the grand finale of our trip. We're heading to the most famous, the most photographed, and the tallest guardian of the entire coast.
And that brings us to the number 7 thing to do, the absolute crowning achievement of any trip to the Outer Banks, climbing the incredible Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. This is the big one. Standing at 208 feet, it is the tallest brick lighthouse in the entire country. Its whole purpose was to warn ships about the Diamond Shoals, these deadly shifting sandbars that gave this area the chilling nickname, the Graveyard of the Atlantic. Climbing the 257 steps to the top, it's a rite of passage. The view is something you'll never forget, and it really connects you to the deep maritime soul of these islands.
Whew, what a journey! From wild horses to world-changing history, the Outer Banks just has so much to offer. So let's do a super quick recap of our 7 essentials to get your travel list ready.
All right, you ready? Here is your OBX checklist. Number 1, see the wild horses in Corolla. 2, visit the Wright Brothers Memorial, where flight was born. 3, explore the giant sand dunes at Jockey's Ridge. 4, dig into the history of Roanoke Island. 5, go birdwatching at Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge. 6, admire the classic Bodie Island Lighthouse. And last but not least, number 7, climb the iconic Cape Hatteras Lighthouse.
That's all for now, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe for more like this.